Hey YouTube, it's been a busy week for Warcraft 3 fans because we got a patch. Hell yeah. A patch by Blizzard is always welcome because our game still struggles a little bit here and there. And if you're a fan of this game and if you've been following the story, you know we got a lot of technical problems since Reforged. But 1 year ago, pretty much exactly, we got Warcraft 3 2.0 with the new dedicated RTS team, and one of the taglines was, when it's broken, we fix it, and when it's not good enough, we make it better. That has become a little bit of a meme, but it's also been their mission statement, and they held true. A year ago, people with the Mac couldn't play this game. People with AMD CPU or GPU were basically locked out of the game because of performance issues. Slowly but steady, a lot of these issues have been fixed, and this is also the direction this patch goes in, because don't expect any balance changes. The ghouls are not getting their damage back, but we address some issues. As I said, Mac people were locked out of the game for a while, and then they were unable to come back in again and are able to play. Unfortunately, they had no minimap. It was just black. Now, the patch notes say, fixed an issue which was caused the minimap to be drawn incorrectly on Mac OS. Good. We also fixed an issue where the game could become stuck upon finding a match. This is for Battle.net multiplayer. Nothing feels better as if you're queuing and you hear the alert, but then the game doesn't start. Apparently fixed. Fixed the crash when exiting the game. This is something that I personally was plagued by a lot. If you do content creation, you watch a lot of replays. You just play games yourself. You hit the exit button because you got owned again and the entire game freezes. You got to close it with a task manager and start again. That throws you out of the ecosystem, and that is never good for a game. I'm not saying this has been entirely fixed. I did encounter this 1 or 2 more times, but it's drastically better than before the patch. And hooray for everyone with an AMD GPU. I remember this goes back to the Reforged days, basically. People with an AMD CPU or GPU were suffering when starting Warcraft, got low FPS, and one of the reasons was that AMD GPUs were not probably addressed in that the game rather took your little chip that's on the main board, the integrated graphics, which are obviously a lot worse than your $1,000, $2,000 dedicated graphic card that you got in your machine. So I've always been going for Nvidia because of that, but maybe you guys can report if this is fixed and now people independent of hardware are able to play the game flawlessly. Fixed an issue with black bars that would be visible on Reforged terrain. This is something that was, for once, not introduced with Reforged, but with Reforged 2.0. That patch last year gave us updated terrain, updated graphics, updated models. Classic HD it was called. And while the terrain looked really good, especially for melee purposes, they had these black bars. And it didn't look good at all. It took some time, it has been addressed, and it is fixed now, as you can see in the picture. While this is nothing extremely extraordinary like a new balance patch or even a new content patch, for the health of the game, this is extremely important. I don't want to know how many people were not playing Warcraft 3 because of performance or stability issues. If you want your game to be healthy, it needs to run on as many machines as possible. And Blizzard unfortunately locked kinda 50% of the player base out of a well-running game. Step by step, this has been fixed. I'm extremely happy that this is the case, and I'm extremely happy that they continue to address it. Hopefully, the biggest flaws are fixed now. If you still encounter critical errors, please let us know in the comments. But Blizzard isn't the only team that's cooking, because W3Champions, the community run ladder, has started into Season 23. Not only is W3Champions providing us with the best competitive environment around, with as many servers as possible, they were also very, very progressive when it comes to quality of life features of the game. Think back, they were the first to introduce a timer so you can time your build orders. They were the first to give a last hit indicator. Many of these quality of life thingies, for example also the worker count on gold mines, have been introduced into the game already. And now W3Champions is bringing in a new feature that is very, very helpful and was mentioned by competitors in Grubby's Invitational, for example. And that's a loot indicator. Of course, you know, in Warcraft 3, you will creep and you want to creep, but how do you get your loot? This is a classic example of you approaching a creep spot. You got your hero on the right-hand side and you got 3 enemies ahead of you. You got a troll on level 3, you got an ogre on level 3, and you get a troll on level 4. So logic would dictate that this troll has the highest level, hence he has the loot. What W3Champions now has implemented is to add this icon on top of the ogre to indicate that this guy has the loot. And then you might ask, but Neo, what loot do I have? And W3Champions is helping there as well. When you click on it, you see you get either a Claws of Attack, Gloves of Haste, or a Ring of Protection. And this doesn't only work for this creep spot. You can move on to another creep spot where things are a little different. You got the Rock Golem. This time the highest level creep got the loot. You click on it and you got 5 different consumables to use. But also you will get a tome that makes your hero stronger without using an item. And this is on the High Priest, indicated by the little book icon. You click on it and you see one of the 4 tomes as well. Loot indicator, now on W3Champions, it's slowly rolling out to one-on-one maps as well. It's a great step forward for people who are not super familiar with the loot table. Alongside the loot indicator that's slowly rolling out to one-on-one now as well, comes an updated ranking with everything being reset basically except your MMR. Everybody can now grind for the top spots once again. It also comes with the map pool update. In one-on-one, Secret Valley has been removed unfortunately, but it has been replaced with Scrimmage. That's a battle-tested map from the All the Randoms game mode, converted into a normal one-on-one map. It's a bit older and a bit outdated in the map design, but hey, maybe we see surprises there as well. But I gotta say, the most exciting changes to the map pool are in the 2-on-2 section, because in the 2-on-2 section is an old classic called Turtle Rock, and Turtle Rock got a little bit of an overhaul. Here's the new version of Turtle Rock and a couple of changes that make it better. When you are familiar with Turtle Rock already, you know that this position and this orange spot was the only one where Night Elves could build an Ancient of War. Here, the creeps didn't attack it, you could creep it easy, get a high level loot, and move on. This was a little unfair for everybody spawning here at the bottom left position. Now the map makers have made it so that you can build your Ancient of War here, or here, or here, to make the Ancient of War creep possible on every single map. That's not the only change though, as the neighboring starting positions have been slightly weakened. Turtle Rock has always been known as one of the hardest maps to expand on. Now this has been simplified a little bit, doesn't mean that it's a fast expansion map now. One of the more unique spots on Turtle Rock has always been the turtle camp between the 2 bases. This is not a big turtle camp anymore. The big turtle was replaced by a crab to make it a little bit easier here to creep, and the little pond that was previously here has been removed. That makes this choke a lot easier to fight. It was always a little wonky. You had to move all the way around it. Wasn't really simple to use. Nobody really felt comfortable fighting there. So optimized, normalized, and modernized. And since W3Champions was also the platform that popularized Direct Strike, they brought in a new game mode, and that is Mini Dota 3 versus 3. What's Mini Dota, you might ask? Well, here we go. Mini Dota is pretty much exactly what you'd expect. It is a mini version of Dota. Instead of 3 lanes, you spawn at once. Instead of 100,000 heroes, you get the regular Warcraft heroes, and then you fight in the middle. You got a lot of items that you can buy, most of them you are familiar with, and then you fight against creeps and the enemy hero and see if you can attack the enemy's throne. I think it is a very, very fun game mode that I underestimated for a long time. What do you think? Did you test it out already? Do you think this can become the new Direct Strike? We'll see about that. On top of that, of course, when one season starts, previously another season had to end, and that is always time for the season finals. We are extremely lucky to be powered by Umi, the language learning app this time. for a $2,000 prize pool plus whatever comes on top of the crowdfunding. And this is where you can help out. We are currently gathering funds, and you can buy the profile pictures, beautiful Pit Lord, Paladin, Warden, or Beastmaster that will be applied to your W3Champions profile at the end of the day. It's going to be 6 amazing days. We go from wildcard qualifier into close qualifier into the main event, where then the big boys like Starbuck and Jens and Kraft will be playing. And we'll see who the new champion will be, or if Jens can defend the crown. Someone who was rumored to be retired has returned, and hopefully you saw the news already. We did a little short on that. It's always been the talk, where is Lin? Where is Lin? Where is Lin? Now we can finally say Lin is back, or is coming back. We had Hi Toon, the organizer of the Dolphin Warcraft Super League, in our chat, and he confirmed Lin will be coming back, and he is currently working on Season 2 of the Super League, so that will also come back. Good news for Warcraft all around, whether that's from Blizzard or W3Champions or the esports part of this game. I hope you enjoyed this little news roundup. What do you hope for next in Blizzard patches? What do you hope for next from W3Champions? What's your wish list? And how do you like what has happened here in the past couple of days? Thanks for watching. See you soon.